I have in my very hands right here 10 reasons Bowling Green might not be the right fit for you. I am going to go over all of those right now, and I speak from experience. I moved here in 2008, and I've been here long enough to hear some folks complain about the reasons they didn't like Bowling Green. I'm going to bring forward my thoughts and share with you some of the ones I've heard, and we're going to get after it right now. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Bowling Green, Kentucky or the surrounding areas, be sure to hit the subscribe button below and then tap that bell notification so you can be the first to learn about the current market here in Kentucky. Hi, my name is Melissa and my team and I get calls and emails every single day from people just like you looking to make their move to Kentucky, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're looking to move in 9 days or 9 months, be sure to send us a call, give us a text, or send us an email. We would love to connect with you on Zoom and help you make your smooth move to Kentucky. All right, let's jump into the top 10 reasons to not move to Bowling Green. Weather. The summers are hot, the winters are cold, and somewhere in between we have beautiful springs and falls. So if you're somebody who is coming from maybe one of those more temperate climates where they don't really have seasons, you're going to find it a little bit of a change. Bowling Green, Kentucky does have all 4 seasons. And we make jokes in the South about having more than 4 seasons just because we go hot, we go cold, and then we change, and there's humidity and there's all kinds of stuff. But really, you're going to experience all 4 seasons. Now, the coldest months are going to be in January. The hottest are going to be like July and August, though we do tend to stay more temperate throughout the year. So I will tell you, we lived in Bowling Green for something like 5 or 6 years before we ever had to even own a shovel. The snow that we get, well, we do get some snow, are dustings, and they are gone pretty much the day after. So it's long enough that the kids have a lot of fun with it, they play with it, and then it's gone. And then in the summers, I mean, it's hot and it's humid, I'm not gonna lie, but you get used to it, you get a little acclimated, and you learn, on the really, really hot days, you just don't do a whole lot outside. It's really the humidity that kind of zaps your energy. So you wanna hydrate, but for the most part, we don't get that crazy hot. If we hit triple digits, it's usually just like a day or two and then it's gone. We don't have those extended periods of triple digit weather that they do in the more southern states. So for the most part, Kentucky is temperate, but you are going to experience all 4 seasons. And I will say spring and fall are absolutely gorgeous. We get those days where it's not very hot and humid. You can be outside as early as March in shorts. And then we start to get warmer around like the spring break period. So I guess somewhere around mid-April is usually where we start to feel like noticeably warmer temperatures. But between those periods, it's beautiful, it's low humidity, and we tend to be like in the 60s or 70s. And then when we come out of fall into a little bit of that early winter, we also stay like in the 50s or 60s. So it's really in January, you're gonna start to see some of those colder temperatures. Con number 2, allergies. So remember I kind of said there was like multiple seasons? Well, this is one of them. We kind of joke around in the South about allergy season. And it's its own time frame in the spring. If you are somebody who has allergies, you're going to probably need some sort of allergy medication in Kentucky, and that's not all that unusual for the South. We say that we get yellow snow, which is the pollen that lands on the cars. We have a lot of greenery here in Kentucky, and while it makes it beautiful, if you are prone to allergies, you're going to notice it here. So I would just plan to get some allergy medication. I will tell you, I never had allergies growing up, but after about a year of living in the South, I started to notice them. And then Nashville seems to have had it worse. Their topography is that they're sort of like in a bowl in Nashville. And so if you are prone to allergies, you just want to make sure that you stay on top of it with some medication. And other than that, most people are pretty much fine. Reason number 3, you may not want to move to Bowling Green. Traffic. We get a lot of complaints locally about the traffic, and it has to do with the layout of town. So majority of your retail, your shopping, your restaurants, your dining, all of that are going to be off of either Scottsville Road or Campbell Lane. And on the weekends and then holidays, we seem to get the most traffic on those 2 roads. And the locals do know the back roads that they can kind of shortcut around and get around the traffic, but you are going to find majority of the backup of traffic there. I do think that moving forward in the future, we're going to see some expansion outside of those two roads. They're starting to develop more of Lover's Lane for some of the retail apartment housing is going out that way. There's also a new development going in near Camping World, and there's supposed to be a shopping mall going out there. Hopefully we'll get a Publix or Trader Joe's, fingers crossed. But for now, you do see a lot of the congestion in the backup around either Scottsville Road or Campbell Lane. If you're coming into town, just know that you might sit a little bit longer with that. And honestly, we complain about the traffic, but I've never sat for more than 5 minutes. Cars are always moving. I don't think I've ever sat in actual traffic. It's not like a major city where you're sitting in hours of congestion. Con number 4, small town living. So if you're used to big city amenities, you're not going to find a whole lot of it in Bowling Green. You'll end up driving to Nashville or Louisville. So if you want your higher end shopping, if you want to be able to get to a level 1 trauma center, a children's hospital, something like that, Nashville, Louisville, those are going to be your closest locations. We have a minor league sports team. We have a minor league baseball team here. But we don't have major league teams. So if you're looking for an NFL game, NHL hockey game, or a soccer game, or even a major league baseball game, hopefully we'll be getting that in Nashville soon, but we have everything else already in Nashville. So you'll be driving to either Nashville or potentially Louisville for some of your more, bigger shopping and doctor's appointments. Con number 5, lack of public transportation. So Bowling Green doesn't not have public transportation. We do have a bus line here, but if you're used to like a New York or Chicago style rail system, we don't have that here. So really, I would plan Warren County and Bowling Green are driving areas. And if you have a job here and you're going to be driving to work, you're probably going to want to have a car. So that's just something to keep in mind. We do have limited public transportation. We do have a bus line, but it's not like you see in major cities. So majority of you are going to be driving. Con number 6. This goes hand in hand with what I said earlier about the weather, but I want to elaborate just a little bit on it. Tornadoes and ice storms. That is totally different. So that's a little bit different than your average weather where it's hot or cold. Bowling Green does have the possibility of inclement weather, which can include tornadoes and or ice storms. I don't think I've ever seen them combined. And no sharknadoes. But I'm from the Midwest. I'm used to growing up in an area where we had basements, and we don't have those in Bowling Green. It has to do with the cave systems here. You really don't see that many basements unless your land and the topography laid itself out well for there to be one easily built. Majority of homes don't have them. So if you are concerned about tornadoes, that's understandable. You can get a storm shelter installed in just about any house. And I've seen them done a few different ways. They're built to withstand F4 or F5 storms. And they're not a huge expense or investment. A few $1,000s, you can have a storm shelter built. Some of them are put outside. Sometimes they build them into the framing of the house. When they're framing up the house, you can have like your pantry actually double as a storm shelter where you can go in there and keep your family safe from any really inclement tornado threats. And then I've also seen them put in where they come out after the house is built and they cut an opening in the slab of the garage floor and they put it underground, and they can do those installations in like a day. So when it comes to tornadoes, if that's a concern and you're not able to find a home that has a basement, then I would consider something like a tornado shelter going in after you close on the house. The other thing we have around here that I was not used to when I moved to Bowling Green are ice storms. We are right at a spot nationally where we don't get super cold in the winter. And sometimes in the winter we get rain that later on overnight changes into snow, but in between it stays icy for a period of time. And that ice can build up on power lines. It can create black ice on bridges and roadways. And so I have heard of power failures going out. The worst storm ever happened maybe in like the 90s. And I remember my grandparents at the time, I didn't live here yet, but my grandparents were telling me that they had a power outage and it was an extended period of time and they had to go stay in a hotel with my great grandmother. So if you're concerned about the ability to have consistent power regardless of something like inclement weather that could come from an ice storm, then I would consider something like a whole home generator, and those can be added aftermarket too. And I actually sold a house that had a whole home generator, and it was amazing. I always said, someday I'm going to add one to my house. I think they're really cool. And that brings us to con number 7. I laugh at this one because I think of it as a pro, but some people might not. The friendliness. So yes, Bowling Green is sort of a southern town, and you're going to bump into people. You're going to start to get familiar with faces if you're relocating here. And if you're not used to southern hospitality, it can take a little getting used to, I guess. People like to chitty chat. When you go walk your dog, people are going to ask you about your day, and they're going to talk to you about your dog, and they're going to want to know about your mama and them. It's just part of living in the South. People like to get to know you, and they like to chat. So I've had conversations with people at the grocery store line, and you strike up a conversation. And I mean, I like it. I'm a little bit of a type A personality, so I like chit-chatting with people. But if you're not that personality type, it might throw you a little bit, and either you're going to get used to it or you're going to find it annoying, one or the other. So it's just something to kind of keep in mind if you're looking at moving anywhere in the South. People tend to be friendly, and they like to have conversations even with complete strangers. Con number 8. Bowling Green is hilly. People are a little surprised about that. So, we're not all the way east towards the Appalachian Mountains or anything like that. We're not that hilly, but Bowling Green itself sits on top of a hill. In fact, WKU is like at the highest point in Warren County, or at least in Bowling Green. And so if you're anywhere near that campus area, there's a good chance you could be walking up some hills. And then also the county can be a little bit hilly too in Warren County. So if you're looking at the north side, the east side, or the west side, there are some pretty good hills and some switchbacks and things like that. If you are on the south side of town, it's a little bit flatter. And so if you're looking for something without those hills, you don't want to have any hillside for mowing, then just kind of keep that in mind. And it's something to consider when you're picking out your locations on where you would want to live. And that brings me right into con number 9, the roads. The roadways in Bowling Green, and especially in the county, can take a little bit of getting used to. So they're not just hilly. I have been on the west side of town, and a drive that should have taken me 20 minutes ended up taking me like 30 or 40. And it was because there were switchbacks, and it was very hilly, and I wasn't familiar with it, and the roadways were more narrow than I was used to. So, and then I've been on the east side towards, actually just outside Warren County over towards the Barren River Lake area, and I was in a spot that I would have sworn was like Gatlinburg. It was beautiful and it was gorgeous, but at the same time, if you're driving those roads at night, they could be a little bit scary. It's darker out there in the county, and some of those roadways also don't lend themselves to inclement weather. So if you're living out in the county and you're in one of these spots that are really low, they can become impassable during heavy rains. And also they might get a little icier. And so if you're in the county, you can expect some closures at schools, just because they have to plan accordingly for all the kids in the county, and then being able to safely take the transportation on the bus system. Even though the roads might look okay in town, in the county they might not be. And that brings us to con number 10, taxes. So this is not just a con in Bowling Green, it's really a statewide con, but definitely one that if you're looking to relocate to Kentucky and you're considering an area like Bowling Green, you'll want to keep in mind. Kentucky has a state income tax, which is 4.5%. It is a decrease from the 6.25% that they had. And I've heard some talk that they're thinking about getting rid of the state income tax, but the taxes nonetheless are there. And then also, if you're in the city of Bowling Green versus the county, you're going to have property taxes on top of your county taxes. So that will increase the cost of the housing. And just something that people are a little surprised about when they're considering home pricing is when they look at what the county and city taxes do to their actual monthly budget. So just a couple things you'll want to keep in consideration. And when you're house shopping, I would say talk to your CPA and see if those taxes are going to end up impacting you a lot, or if it's something that, it still makes sense over your monthly income and budget. Well, thank you so much for watching. City of Bowling Green, please don't be upset with me for sharing 10 reasons to not move to Bowling Green. All in all, I really love Bowling Green, Kentucky. We live in the county. We think it's one of the best spots we could have possibly decided to live and to raise our family. But you know, if you're somebody who's moving here from outside the area, you may find a couple of those reasons surprising. And if you got a couple more that you think we should add to the list, be sure to drop them in the comments below. We would love to hear from you.